feels like the temperature is warming up a little bit, if that's what you want to say anyways. Still kind of cold. And what did I read today? How about this one where it makes me think, is this a little overboard, where apparently there was a drone that flew, I guess, over a school? Like, I guess literally? Everyone's in the building and so forth from what I gather, but still, because a drone flew over it, it's almost like it's the end of the world. It's a terrorist attacking them or something like that. That's what it sounds like with the way they're portraying this, because it says here, state officials to introduce a new drone regulations around schools after unsettling Capital Region school flybys. State officials from the Capital Region are introducing legislation to limit areas where drones can fly after an October 12th incident where a drone flew over Ego Elementary School in Del Mar without permission while students were inside. New York Assemblywoman Pat Fahy and State Senator Neil Breslin are proposing legislation that would prevent drones from flying near so-called critical infrastructure. What is wrong with that? Like a drone that just flew over, I guess, a school and everyone's inside? And by the sounds of it too, again here, they talk about how it comes to a point of high tensions following shootings in Maine and war in Israel, so they are treating it kind of like as potential terrorist attacks and all that, saying very few are feeling safe these days, so the fact that we could have a drone flying over the school, an unauthorized drone over school grounds and other critical infrastructure without any authorization really made us jump, quite frankly. So what exactly would this, I guess, bill entail? It says the bill would place limits on drones up to 400 feet above is regulated by the FAA. How would that work? Because again, normally in these situations, they can only kind of determine, let's just say, where you can land and take off. And the crazy thing about this is, according to this, they found out that the drone operator, like at least one of them anyways, that flew over the school was just a real estate agent. Because it says here, the same drone also flew over Slingerland's Elementary that same day and was identified as belonging to a local real estate firm. So I can imagine, because many times real estate agents, for example, they make these videos saying, oh, look how lovely this neighborhood is. And with a school, I suppose, it would be, you could be within walking distance for your child when it comes to their education. So that's pretty normal, but this is completely overblown, isn't it? Again, everyone's indoors and all that. Would you say the same thing? If someone, let's just say a real estate agent was going around with their camera, just filming the neighborhood and all that, saying, oh, look at this property and all that. To me, this is overboard. It even says, Kakiara says the capability of this drone wasn't known, adding to the risk since some are capable of carrying objects such as explosives. I mean, it's one thing to be safe and all that, have some precautions, but this is completely overboard in my opinion. That's pure, I guess, paranoia, fear. That's kind of ridiculous, isn't it, when you think about it? No wonder why there are so many topics in the world that people are so, I guess, prejudiced against other individuals and all that, because everything's based on fear, like from this anyways, by the sounds of it. And in terms of restricting stuff, this was kind of interesting, where apparently here in Canada, we're banning things like WeChat, I guess, on government devices, which is predominantly what is used in China as their communication tool. It says Canada bans WeChat, Kaspersky applications on government devices statement. Canada on Monday banned the use of Chinese messaging application WeChat and Russian antivirus program Kaspersky on government-issued mobile devices, citing privacy and security risks. The decision to remove and block the WeChat and Kaspersky applications was made to ensure that Government of Canada networks and data remain secure and protected and are in line with the approach of our international partners, the Canadian government said in a statement. The WeChat is actually used for a lot more than just, for example, text chatting. People actually use it to do payments and stuff like that too. So what would you say in that case? Would you say that's based on fear? Would you say that's justified as an example? It's just kind of interesting with all these, I guess, different scenarios where people will ban everything just based out of, I guess, concerns of privacy, of the unknown. It makes you wonder, is it valid? And for some reason, there was so many topics about COVID and stuff like that, where specifically it was this one that was spreading online a lot, where it's saying how, I guess before in the beginning, everyone was saying, even here, that the way the thing spread was through things like droplets, but then afterwards, apparently people were saying, no, it's airborne. So this one says, when COVID-19 surfaced in 2020, the medical field missed something and it cost lives. Airborne viruses can travel much further than originally thought. To curb infection, we should have focus on indoor air systems. And so to demonstrate it, they're using something, I don't know what this is, like a vape, for example, to show you, I guess, how it travels through the rooms really quickly. And in order to stop some kind of infection or a spread, you're going to have to filter the air like crazy. And with that, they're kind of blaming, I guess, this as a reason why so many people potentially died, for example. What I'm thinking here, though, is a lot of people in the beginning were saying, you must do it this way. If you don't, then whatever, like you're not helping, or to the extreme end, some people are like, oh, you deserve to die, for example. That's what they say. But if you think about it, with all this information that's coming out now, a lot of it ended up not being true. So what's really interesting to think about is if you were one of those people on the extreme end and you were completely wrong in that way, did you actually, let's just say, apologize to people? How did you make up to all those people that you were, I guess, discriminating against? Because actually, in relations to this other video was spreading online where somebody initially was really for like the lockdowns and all that, and I think it's pretty evident nowadays it wasn't the right decision. So here the person's kind of asking for, I guess, forgiveness for his, I guess, views of it initially. So you can first see it here.
Well, I was on the board of my kid's school during COVID. I wanted a harsher lockdown policy, and in retrospect, I was wrong. The damage to kids of keeping them out of school longer was greater than the risks. But here's the bottom line. Myself, our great people, the CDC, I'd like to thank the governor, we were all operating with imperfect information, and we were doing our best. So
yeah, let's learn from it. Let's learn from it. Let's hold each other accountable. But let's bring a little bit of grace and forgiveness in the shit show that was COVID.
Now with that, a lot of people are saying, for example, no way, they're not going to forgive this guy because he was apparently writing articles criticizing everyone that didn't follow, I guess, procedures according to what he felt was the best. For me personally, it's one thing where it's true, you base everything on the information that you have during the time, but at the same time, I think as common sense, you learn from history, you better be careful because you might be wrong. So what are you going to do in those situations where you end up being wrong? Like here, for example, you could argue, okay, you think this way is better, but for you to insist everyone that doesn't follow this way 100%, you guys deserve to die and so forth, to me, there's no excuse for that. I don't know how you can justify that kind of attitude, even from some people that I've known for a while when it came to like those lockdowns and stuff like that. Holy smoke, some people were so extreme. It's almost like it's some kind of tribe or something like that. Like it's not based on facts. It's more like, no, you have to do it this way or else like you deserve to be outcasted and all that. Like, that to me, it was kind of crazy. But in this situation, what would you think? If someone was on the extreme end, would you, quote, forgive them in that way? Or would you say, no, they have to be held accountable in some way per se? It's kind of like the thought I had before, actually, in relation to this topic, where a lot of people were censored for, I guess, potentially questioning certain directions and all that. What happens? Like, you could argue, oh, I need to block this information and that because at the time you think that was the best way possible to, quote, save lives and all that. But what if you're wrong, like on the complete other end? You caused, let's just say, people to die because you stopped people from getting certain information that ended up being true. Will you hold yourself accountable in that way as well? I think one of the worst things about these type of scenarios are, from my observation, the people who are really extreme in terms of one view, again, saying those people should die and all that. Unfortunately, when they're proven wrong, they don't just admit it and learn from it. They will instead completely deny that they were ever like that, for example, in the most extreme cases, or they will actually attack those individuals still, find some way, for example, to make them sound bad because they just don't want to admit it, which is the unfortunate thing. If people can't learn from it, then history will just keep repeating itself over and over again, huh? right. See you guys later.